really means after this. And we have with us today 3 representatives from MDEC, MIDF, and also SJPP to share with us all the grants and also loans available and also offered by these 3 organizations. So before we start, first and foremost, let us say a huge thank you to Malaysia Productivity Corporation, MPC, for organizing this, because this is a very timely time for us to really get to know about the initiatives and also the support system available for SMEs in order for us to go digital. So again, this is part of MPC's initiative of Go Big with Digital. So in addition to this, any of you who are interested to get consultation, business consultation from MPC, you can always log on to mpc.gov.my/digitalvictory and place your interest, register your interest to get further consultation from all the business experienced people there. Yeah. So you can click the incentive for you to get to know more about the initiatives that we are talking about today. So without further ado, before we go further discuss about the 3 initiatives offered by the 3 organizations, we would like to first welcome Dato' Wei Chuan Beng, who himself is a very, very illustrious businessman himself. So he founded Redtone, yeah? So he founded Redtone and raised fund and also bring it all the way to IPO. So he has a lot to share with us today in terms of how he leveraged on grant and also on loan to really bring his business further. So Dato' Wei, may I invite you to share your experience with all the listeners today?
Yeah, thank you, Rajifa. Thank you for your very generous introduction. And I think as a champion for the Digital Productivity Nexus, I again would like to welcome our speakers today. It is actually for them, for this very important resources to share with us their key messages. So I really would like to acknowledge, to start with, will be Khairul Nizam from the from MIDF, right? Thank you. And then Puan Masliza Zainal that represent the SJPP, and also Stanley Low representing MDEC. Thank you very much for being here with us. I'm sure all of us will benefit a lot. And I must say that I have been on the other side of this session as a listener, as a participant of some of those talks about grants. That was some 20 over years ago, as I started business in 1995, 1996. I must acknowledge that this is a special country. Our country has a lot of funding for the entrepreneurial ecosystem. It doesn't mean that it's very easy to get all the funding, but neither is it difficult to tap on those funding. And also from the view of our entrepreneur, fundraising at the early stage will be a very, very big part of the journey. People often talk about getting the right products, having the right team, getting the right ideas, having the right competencies. All these are very important. And equally important will be the right type of funding at different stages of our companies. And therefore, I'm personally very excited for the listeners, as I can share a lot of your sentiment and the anxiety, wanting to see how best to break out of this particular stage of crisis that we are all facing today. More so during this time where businesses are affected, a lot of businesses are affected. Some of our digital businesses may enjoy that kind of a bumper year, and it may or may not necessarily last that way. It depends on whether we are able to build on that. However, about funding, I could recall that when we started our business, we put, first of all, I think without doubt, as an entrepreneur or any company, we need to demonstrate our commitment into the company. So therefore, three of us, the founders, put all our saving into the company. And you're talking about 25 years ago, 100,000 ringgit. Please don't laugh. That was huge amount of money because we were working for 5 years. That was all that we could squeeze out. And then on top of that, either don't get paid or get only some small allowance to maintain the simple livelihood. So that was a kind of commitment to get the first product going. And as soon as we have the first product, that was a voicemail system. Again, don't laugh because that was a very advanced product at that point in time. It was 25 years ago. Of course, right now people can ask question, what kind of museum piece is that? But you know, times change, right? And I must acknowledge that we actually in the 1997-98, that was during the Asia financial crisis, we begin to tap into the grant from the government. The first grant that we actually tapped into was called the ITAF Fund, Industry and Technical Assistance Fund. And it was actually managed by Matre for either technology development, but small scale, 40,000 max. And also to do product promotion if you participate in let's say exhibition. So it is similar to early stage of commercialization fund, but it's actually very smallish. And with that, we actually, of course, it wasn't easy. I must share with you that because there was rules, there were different interpretation. We were not manufacturer, and Matrix were treating that grant only for the purpose of manufacturer. And we have to get into that kind of argument because we developed the product. We outsourced the hardware for a factory to produce for us, and then we package with our software. But with that, we didn't have factory, and therefore we didn't, from the paper, qualify to apply for the grant. So, but then I think as an entrepreneur, we must not give up. So I have made a very strong, I use the word strong, to the extent that it was actually not very friendly, because I feel that it is actually not befitting the purpose of the grant at that point in time, because we wanted to participate in an exhibition overseas in the US to sell our products. And subsequently, we got a grant, 40,000, that we went to the US to do the exhibition and begin the overseas market. That was in 98. And I think one effect out of that was the recognition from the market. We begin to receive the award, like the Teleconnect Best of the Best Product Award. And of course, in the country, we were also blessed because of the starting of the MSC. The MSC status also give that kind of recognition that we are a technology company. And beside that, we also have won the APMITA Award, which is MSC ICT Award, AsiaPac MSC ICT Award, and subsequently the best Prime Minister Award. Some of those awards are actually credential, apart from getting the revenue, and that makes it easier for the grant so-called agencies to recognize that, hey, you know, if I were to give some kind of support, they would like to support people who are worthy of the support. So I think that has laid the foundation. And subsequently, we get the subsequent grant for R&D. That was a big break. That was called the MSC R&D grant scheme. And our business were doing well. 98, 99, we were doing like 1.4 million, 3 million, and 8 million. But please don't laugh. That was a huge number at that point in time. Selling our voicemail products and call accounting products, and we were stupid because we put all the money, all the proceeds back into R&D. We didn't take a single cent out. We could have actually declared some dividend and therefore make us comfortable, but we did not take a single cent out. Then And when we have the first product out, we were very fortunate that we presented to our friend, formerly also from HP, and who has come out to do business and became successful. So when we had the product out, we had the support from these people like Lee Eng Sia to become our angel investor. So I really appreciate that kind of angel investing. And because of that, that has become that role model for that support for the startup ecosystem. And as such, personally, I'm doing angel investing right now in the form of paying back or paying forward. So angel investment, grant for the what I call commercialization, and continuous R&D. And the R&D funding that we received was actually quite a sizable one. We are talking about in the tune of 3 million ringgit of R&D grant. And of course, we have to demonstrate our seriousness. So therefore, we put all our profit margin back into R&D as those days matching grant or 70% grant. And then we had a product out, what was called the communication server. And that was really advanced at that point in time because it is a server that can do phone, voicemail, email, fax mail, phone directory in one box. And then we were again faced by a great adversity. Year 2000, the .com crash. The world went into recession. We couldn't sell the product. So as an entrepreneur, we need to make decisions because we could only last for 6 months with the amount of cash that we have. Despite, okay, now another source of funding was VC. Again, we received MSC venture at that point in time. It was actually the early VC fund. We received 10 million of funding. So we expanded very quickly. With that, we thought that we could go to the world market, and the world was not ready. We were not ready for the world, both also not ready. And combined with the .com crash, and we got to change the position to offer something that the market would need, using the base technology, using the base core competencies that we had. So we turned the communication server into a discounted call server, because those days, long distance call, even within the country, long distance was still very expensive. So we helped to route the calls to help corporate and individuals save. And from there, it has become very successful. So we grew from 12 million to 14 million to 32 million to 80 million to 160 million during that few years after the .com crash, and therefore listed the company in 2004, and the rest will be part of the corporate stories. So I must say that without grant, without in between, we also had some loans because we were doing some of the export and so on. It was actually the kind of loan and OD backed by the CGC, which is similar to SJPP or same intention. So CGC loan, guaranteed loan. So I somehow really appreciate that it is actually through the support from all the parties. And of course, we must demonstrate that we are worthy of that support. And as such, that we managed to break out of that great difficulties during the 97-98 financial crisis and the year 2000-2001 .com crash, global economic crisis. And I would wish that many of our listeners today could also put in your best, do our best, demonstrate that we are worthy of the support, and get the kind of grant, loans, and guarantee that is fit for our stage of growth or the stages of the business, and therefore could also break out from that whatever state of the bottleneck or dilemma that you may be in right now. Just a few words for the agencies. I know that you guys are doing a great job, right? There are also some of the areas to perhaps relook at in terms of having that so-called outlook, because a lot of people who come for funding are actually in need of this. So therefore, if there's a chance to wear the hat of enabler, keep that kind of enabler outlook. There will always be people who want to abuse. And those who abuse, go hard on them. But there are many people who are actually very genuine. And please be generous. And in terms of the criteria for the assessment, I know that there's a need to have a check and balance. There's need to have a lot of details. But then in any business, I have not seen one business plan that will go according to the plan. Likewise, when it comes to the funding, be it grant, be it business loan or anything, people may provide you with any documentation, so-called support. However, business is so dynamic. Every day, the new competition, the new regulation, and then new situation. So because of the global and macro factors, plus competitive pressure, there will be a need to change the business direction. And because of that, the intention of the grant to support the business can be there, despite the fact that the actual content or delivery may differ somewhat. What is more important will be the outcome, that the grant has achieved its intended purpose, that it has actually groomed the company, it has helped to create more jobs, it has actually helped to support that kind of vibrant the entrepreneurial ecosystem such that our country can move forward. I think that is a very important outlook that all of us must have when we process grant. This is actually more of my input for your consideration, as you are a very important piece of the enabler. So with that sharing, it's 10:20, my time's up. So I wish both the grant and the loan and the guarantee agencies great success in giving out a lot of those, because I'm aware that your KPI is also to disburse a lot during this time, right? And I wish every success to all those applicants out there. Thank you very much. Back to you,
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Dato' Wei. So what you shared with us is very, very insightful. Just go to explain the importance of grant, soft loan, and also the other support system, given by the government agencies and all that. So it's very, very also important to note the fact that these grants are important, but the most important thing of all is the grant recipient or the grant application also have to prove that they are worthy of receiving the grant. So yes, we have to put in all the work, put in all the grit in order to come up with a product so that we are enabled to get further assistance from the agencies. So that is very, very good point, Dato'. And likewise, as you mentioned to our enablers, it's also very, very important to be to be agile and to be more open in terms of evaluating all the applicants coming from SMEs and also startups. So thank you very much again, Dato', for your sharing session. We hope to have you again in the next round of session that we have organized by MPC. Thank you so much. So without further ado, again, we would like to invite Stanley Ho, who is the Digital Solution Lead of Business Digital Adoption from MDEC. So basically, Stanley has got a wide experience in terms of bringing over the big MNCs coming to Malaysia and set up their BPO. So he has been dealing with a lot of big companies, the likes of Shell, IBM, and Dell. So for today, basically, Stanley will share with us about SME Digitalisation Grant and also Smart Automation Grant. Before that, yes, Stanley, let me just remind or inform all the listeners today that you can post questions either via our Facebook Live or via the link that you get to our webinar today. Yeah. So fire away, Stanley. The floor is yours.
Thank you, moderator, for the wonderful and interesting introductions. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everyone is doing well. Without further ado, let me share two key points. The first part would be the impact of digitalizations, especially in the current situations, particularly from the business standpoint. And the second part would be what are the support probably business could look at from a digital and leverage on such an initiative. We understand that the current situation is completely different than what we have gone through. Previously, there were Asia financial crisis. There were also global economy slowdown. However, I think this current pandemic, COVID-19, is very challenging. And that is something which is not going to stop immediately or short period of time. This is going sort of influence what we call a new normal. A quote from Albert Einstein: "In the midst of every crisis lies great opportunity." I think this is where digital come in play, and let's look at what digital can present to you as a business. Before that, just a quick introductions. MDEC is known as Malaysia Digital Economy. We are a government agency. We are mandated to drive the digital economy. We have three pillars that we look from: skill development and empowering business, tech, as well as brick and mortar and traditional businesses, which I'm working on. And lastly, we are bringing the foreign direct investment to the country to spur the new job creation and also the economy. We are reporting directly to Ministry of Communication and Multimedia. Ladies and gentlemen, let me summarize how do you see digitalizations from a business perspective, as all of you are basically offering unique business propositions to your customers, that you are competing in different landscape and with all other different business as well. Digitalization is an opportunity for you to increase your competitiveness. Some of the key benefit that you can see from digitalization is to reduce costs. One of the good example is digital marketing. How you have been doing it traditionally is with the distributions of pamphlet, brochure. But today with digital is cost effective because digital marketing gives you the visibility to reach out to more targeted customers, as you can actually set the parameters in digital marketing in terms of the customer demographic that you wish to target, their spending behavior, age, their location, and interests. A lot of deliberations about automating for business processes. I think you are very familiar in terms of how you look at the way that you are doing now. And digital means that can reduce the amount of time and resources required of doing a particular job. Maybe in the past, you need about 100 people. Now with digitalization, you can reduce to 50 or less than that. And the people that you reduce, you can upskill those people to move up the technology value chain and to do more valuable tasks. Before I go off this slide, I would like to clarify the difference between digitizations and digitalizations. The definitions could be confusing at times and it's always be interchangeably used. Simply put, digitalizations is basically referring to conversions of analog to digital. For example, if you are keeping the record using logbook and now you're converting to Microsoft Word, Excel, now you have a different way of managing this data. You could also use different format that can track and retrieve the data, as well as how you communicate those data accurately to your and with real time to your business partner, shareholder, and your customer. Digitalizations is about above and beyond that. It is a new mindset. It is required. It is a new way of doing business. So what government is trying to put in place to support businesses moving forward. I would like to share with you the story of Puan Zainal, is the owner of Terra Grill, which is a company that are producing satay at Langkawi, and one of our successful SME from our 100 Go Digital initiative. This company now delivers satay throughout Malaysia. Once Zainal started her journey throughout the promotions on digital platform, focusing building her digital presence. Subsequently, she promoted this on social media, Facebook, Instagram, with a sales figure reaching to 40,000 to 60,000 per month. Through this, she was able to see her sales grow up to 20%. And even interestingly, during MCO, the sales went up to 80%. By having digital presence, Terra Grill is searchable and connectable online by their current and also future customer. She also coupled her effort with digital payment and online delivery services. Digital payment is a way that payment is made through digital mode. Using digital payment is cost effective and also which able to increase efficiency and speed. On top of that, she is also implementing electronic point of sale. She can access her business from anywhere. This enables her to track the order come in and the order have been sent and if there is any delay. On top of that, the system will automatically prompt their supplier to replenish the raw material to produce satay. They have also automated the satay making process by implementing the automated satay device coupled with IoT component to accelerate the satay processing time. Now, they can produce up to 7,000 stick daily compared to 1,000 stick daily. So this have reduced the process time cycle to 15%. Hence, during MCO, she was better prepared and able to continue her business with minimum interruptions and even saw the growth in their sales. Sarai Group, I guess everybody is quite familiar with Sarai Group. I would like to share this story about Sarai Group.
Just a quick prompt, 5 minutes left, yeah?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. This is one of our successful SME. So with this program, right, they're able to increase their productivity up to 30%. Okay, this part is, I would like to share with you from an index standpoint, right? What are the experience that we have been working with brick and mortar companies? So we have actually drafted a very simple guideline. We have two programs. One is 100 Go Digital and second one is DTAP. And you can see that for 100 Go Digital, we have SME Business Digitalization Grant and also Smart Automation Grant. So I would like to go into that grant right now. Okay, for SME Business Digitalization Grant, right, I'll walk you through one of this grant. So this grant was announced during the budget 2020. This, I would say, a good opportunity for business to sort of kickstart of your digital journey. You're probably wondering, where do you start? If your investment is small and if you are looking for a quick win, this grant is suitable for you. Look at the right-hand side. This grant is led by Bank Simpanan Nasional, supported by MDAC and also SME Bank. So MDAC is providing the digital advisory as well as to vet through the technology solutions provider to support company to digitalize their business operations. There are 7 key areas at present. You can see it include digital marketing, electronic point of sales, and so on. This is some of the low-hanging fruit that you can look in terms where you can start. A matching grant up to 5,000. You can see the criteria that are pretty simple. Down there, there's a link, and maybe NPC will share with you in the chat box on the link. If you're interested, you can just go into the link and click and apply for it. Okay, next one is Smart Automations Grant. For Smart Automations Grant, it's actually for a slightly bigger digitalization project with a bigger investment amount, and also is outcome-based achievement. Smart automation is there for you to consider. Smart automation is outcome-based, whereby it caters for services companies that are brick and mortar, traditional and non-technology activities to automate their business processes and to move towards digitalizations. It is a 50% matching grant up to 200,000 per company, which is lower. SAG is an outcome-based grant where the company need to meet the specific digitalizations benefit. And when you look at the box at the center, you need to achieve at least minimum one of the expected outcome. Having said that, successful applicant will need to submit their proposal with the number of outcome they will able to achieve upon the implementations of the project. The total duration of the project is 4 months. However, in the event that successful applicant wish to extend their project duration due to unforeseen circumstances, do free to write to MDAC and to ask for extensions for the project durations. The grant can be applied via 2 approaches. The first approach is on the MDAC Partners programs. So this is a program that's specifically designed so that SME will receive guidance. And second one is direct application, whereby you can go to MDAC website and apply and register your interest. So once you register your interest, MDEC will have a briefing sessions. So later on, MPCA will be sharing with you the link. So you just go to MDEC website. For Smart Automations Grant, what is so special about Smart Automations Grant, right? This time around, right, we are not conducting those so-called approval committee whenever applicants want to apply for grant. So what we're gonna do about this time around, we're gonna have a pitching sessions. So all these SME that interested to apply for this grant, they need to submit the business proposal to us and they need to pitch to all the judges. So on the spot, the judges will let them know whether their application is successful or not. Because we have actually, by doing this, we have actually shortened the time of not going through quite a number of evaluation and also approval committee. Okay, now I'll explain to you why there's two routes to apply for this Smart Automations Grant. First route is the program route.
Sorry to disrupt. Can we give you only 1 minute more?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, first is the program route. This program route is actually catered for SME, which have limited knowledge on digitalizations. They might need guidance from the subject matter expert. The direct route is actually for SME that are equipped with the digitalization knowledge and well-versed with their business pain point. And they have the plan in mind how to digitalize their business operation, and they already anticipated the benefit that they will obtain from the implementation of the projects. Okay, for this Smart Automation Grant, MDEC is not onboarding any technology solutions providers to support the Smart Automations Grant. This is up to the applicants to choose the technology solution providers that have proven track records. But then again, the solutions provider need to meet some of the minimum criteria. They have paid up capital 50,000 and they need to prove to MDEC they have successfully deployed their digital solution to at least 10 enterprise to achieve one of these outcomes. And in terms of financial capability and strength, we will check they are not subjected to any winding up order and so on. Okay, for Smart Automations Grant, right, there are two groups of companies that can apply. First one is for general services that comprises of F&B, retails, and then tourism, transportations, and so on. Second group is we cater for professional services sector, included legal, accounting, engineering, consultation, security firms, right? So these two group of services sector can qualify to apply for this grant. And then the applications journey is very simple. Once you register your interest in our website, right, we'll call for briefing sessions. During the briefing sessions, there will be a QR code we'll send out. Then you can choose like which approach that you want to apply. Later on, we will send you a link for you to activate your online systems. So meaning that everything will be done online. You can submit all those documentations online. Like for example, if you go to a bank, you want to open up an online banking account, right? So the bank officer will send you the online link via your email. Then you can just click the email and activate the account, right? These are all those documents that are required to be submitted when you want to apply for the Smart Automations Grant. With that, I would like to end my presentations. I would like to pass back the control to the moderator. Thank you for listening today.
Thank you so much, Stanley. And sorry for prompting you to about the time that we have. So basically, what you have shared with us today is two types of grant coming from MDEC, which is the SME Digitalisation Grant and also Smart Automation Grant. Yeah. So where can our audience get to know more information about this? Do you have it on MDEC's website? Stanley?
Okay, for those that are interested, right, you can actually take a photo. Then this is all the link that you can actually go in, and also those like if you're interested, these are the person that you can contact. Okay.
Okay. Are you also able to share your deck that you shared with us today?
Yeah, sure. I'll share my deck.
Okay. All right. Super. Thank you so much, Stanley, for that.
Thank
So
you.
yes, those are the two digitalization grant up for grab. So for those listeners out there who are very, very much interested to explore more about the digitalization grant and also about SAG, our smart automation grant, please head to MDEX URL so you get to know more information about that with all the respective phone numbers for you to call if you like to speak to someone, yeah, for more guidance and all that. Right. So moving on, we have here with us as well today is representative from MIDF, who is Encik Hairul Nizam. So Encik Hairul is a business advisory unit, and he has more than 20 years experience in banking. So Hairul will be speaking about soft financing schemes for digital and technology. So Encik Hairul, we have 10 minutes before we open the floor for Q&A. Yeah? Thank you so much. Over to you.
Okay. Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera dan selamat pagi semua. So first and foremost, thank you to Puan Rajifa for the introduction. Special thanks to MPC for giving us the opportunity to take part in this program. Thank you also to Datuk Wee for sharing the inspiring journey just now. As mentioned by Datuk, there are many ways of raising funds, but still the best is actually to get the free funds. That's why we are having this particular session today. Anyway, you have heard about the free funds or the grants from MDEC just now, from Stanley, and you can explore that. As for MIDF, we are unfortunately to say that we don't have grants at the moment, but we have alternative financing, which is soft loan for people who venturing into digitalization and also for technology adoption. So let me start the first introduction about MIDF, because some of you might not know us very well. I appreciate if Izzati could upload the first slide, please. Okay. Uh, I start with the picture first. The top one is our initial building at Jalan Tun Razak, that where we started our banking operation way back in 1960. It's about 60 years ago. And we will be celebrating, in fact, we are celebrating our 60th anniversary this year. And we will be celebrating with Maybank. And why Maybank? Because Maybank and MIDF are both under the same stakeholder, which is PNB. Unlike Maybank, which is a full-fledged commercial bank, MIDF remain as a boutique bank. Currently, we are offering three core business segments, which are investment bank, asset management, and development finance. Yeah. For investment bank, I think you are fully aware that we offer IPO, lead market, asset management, basically fund management, managing unit trust account or fund, things like that. But as for development bank, our role is managing various schemes for all financing for local SME. And these funds are provided by government agency and to be released for specific purpose and mandates. Okay. In terms of reporting, MIDF is agency under MITI. Of course, as a development financial institution, we are governed by or supervised by Bank Negara Malaysia. We go to the next one. So technically, this is our resume. I think this will not be interest you because this is our previous achievement. But the most important thing today is what can MIDF help you. We go to the next one. What is new in MIDF? Yes, last year we established a business advisory, what we call the unit, basically to assist a company or SME, especially in addressing the financing barriers in getting the financing from MIDF. There's a lot of reason why SME will not be able to access. I think the presence of business advisory will facilitate them to get this particular, what we call financing from MIDF or even from other development finance institutions too. So there are some reasons which you can refer to this slide later on, the reason why we are establishing this very simple unit. And of course, simple unit, but carry a big responsibility. So what is new? We skip the next slide and we go to the topic that we want to discuss today, which is the new fund, which was established by MIDF recently. This following the COVID-19, we see that a lot of what we call requirements that SME need to digitalize and so adopt technology for their business. Exactly, we go to the next slide. Okay, Izzati, can we move on? Yeah, okay, right. Now, the soft financing scheme for digital and technology, or we call it SFSDT, is a soft loan actually to SME to embark into adoption of e-commerce. Yeah, and also this facility is to increase SME's marketability and also to encourage them in terms of utilization of new technology. In general, this is also in line with the government initiative to encourage more business to shift offline to online, and also part of a short-term economic recovery plan under Penjana. Next. So what is the eligibility criteria in order to eligible for this particular scheme? Very simple. We open to all sectors, manufacturing or services. Ownership must be 60% Malaysian. Yeah, because the purpose is basically to have a local SME. A company status, it can be SME or it can be corporate. It can be also partnership or sole proprietor. But of course, the evaluation will determine the strength of the company at the end of the day. Yes, in operation, minimum 6 months. Do you need a special license for this? Yes, at least you must have a business license, you know. If you don't have a business license, definitely you are illegal in business, doing business. So that will not eligible under this particular scheme. Now, a panel of vendors under the grant, as you know, that this particular grant will be assessed by a panel of solution provider, but for MIDF soft loan, it will not be a compulsory. Next, yeah. Now, I just share with you very simple, what we call the salient terms of the scheme. The maximum financing up to 1 million, and a tenor up for capex financing is up to, or term financing up to 5 years, and for working capital 180 days. Margin of financing up to 90 days, 90%, and the profit rate is 4%. Yeah. So in order to make you easy to understand how MIDF or soft loan can fit to your requirement, I make one case scenario here. You know, this is a scenario I think is very familiar to us. Makcik Kia, you know Makcik Kia, right? The family who has received the assistance from the government from the COVID-19. So now Makcik Kia has already become an entrepreneur already. Yeah, he has already have his own business. The current goreng pisang business has already diversified into many what we call business channels, and one of them is basically producing what we call the goreng pisang plus special recipe, and also a paste for food. You know, so basically, Makcik Kia is in the manufacturing, also in services sector. Of course, the ownership is between her and her husband. Of course, they meet this eligibility, and of course, the company fall under SME, and technically they have been in operation for about a year. So do they have the license? Yes. So technically, Makcik Kia Sdn Bhd is already eligible for this facility. So let's look what kind of facility that they will be entitled under SFDT in terms of, you know, digitalizing and also adoption of technology for her company. Now, Makcik Kia currently last time was selling goreng pisang, but now they wanted to modernize and automate their manufacturing facility because they are also venturing into other business. So what are the requirement is they need some machines. For this, I make a bit exaggerate, robotic machines. And how much the price that need for her to buy is 100,000. So under SFDT, we can finance up to 90%. And how long? 5 years. Yeah. And what else that she want to buy to digitalize her business? IT system. What kind of requirement? Let's say number 2 is Windows Server. And what is the price? 30,000. So the financing up to 90% is 27,000. What else? Logistic and distributions. Because you remember the husband last time was a Grab driver because of Makcik Kia already in the business. So he is part of the shareholder and director. Now he also want to run the business together. So he said that, okay, all the distributions and logistics will be handled by him. So he need 20 motorcycles to handle this. So technically he require another 100,000 to buy 20 motorcycles. And under SFDT, SDT, he is entitled up to 90% of it. 90% is 90,000. So the total for capex and hardware is requirement is 230,000. So the financing that they can get 207,000. So under SFDT, the tenure is up to 5 years, inclusive of 1 year grace period. So for this case, Cik Kia, Makcik Kia Sedia Berhad entitled for a 1 year grace period where they only pay or only service the profit rate, which I already calculated lah. And the second and up to the final year, they have to service profit plus principal. So settle capex and hardware. Now move to the next slide.
Encik Hairul, 2 more minutes ya.
2 more minutes, okay. Okay, the next slide basically on other requirement, which is the soft cost, because Cik Kia also want to digitalize all their admin like accounting, HR system, inventory, logistic, digital marketing, establish website, mobile apps, and also e-platform. So this one can also be financed, and of course the margin and the tenor are remain the same. We go to the next slide. And then last but not least is the working capital and ancillary financing. So because as a manufacturer, a producer of food supplies, they also need some raw material. So they will also need some working capital for that, can also be financed. And since also Makcik Kia are also supplying to GLC, some of the paste and flour, they will also be able to get some contract financing or sales revolving credit up to 90% also. Last but not least, which I wish to highlight here, even the legal fee when obtaining the financing also can be financed under this facility. Okay. So this is the summary of the financing. The last one, term financing, working capital, we add together. Makcik Kia Sedia Berhad entitled for 627,000. And then normally what kind of security that the bank would like to have for this SFSDT? Of course, number one is charge over the fixed asset that financed by MIDF, and also SJPP guarantee. So later on, I think our friend from SJPP will brief you more about this. And of course, Makcik Kia and the husband must stand for guarantee. Okay, last but not least, the last slide I also would like to share, if any one of the participants here would like to explore more on the facility offered by MIDF, especially for digitalization and technology adoption, please join our webinar, which is on the 13th of August. And we work with our 3 partners here. Then probably we will be able to have a better understanding on what we can finance. The rest of the slide are for reference and for your reading pleasure on this. That's all. Thank you, Madam Moderator. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Hairul. Okay,
Rushing here.
We've got questions here because we have a very limited time actually. Hari ni kan Jumaat. So basically we've got 2 questions coming from our audience. Yang the first one tu, he would like to know, is there any grant available from MIDF yang applicable for purely based on prototype?
No, at the moment.
No. Okay. All right.
All
So
we have are all soft loan and financing. Yeah.
right. Okay. So you must have got some retention or some track record in order for you to apply for MIDF grant.
Yep, definitely. Yeah.
All right. And the second question, this is both for you, yeah, Stanley, and also Hyrule. The question goes basically, can they still get financing if they already got grant from MDEC? Meaning to say, is it possible to apply for both?
Okay, in these situations, right, they need to demonstrate the completions of the previous grant with the project. After that, they only eligible to apply for the new grant.
Okay. All right. So I hope that answers the question posed by our
Yeah.
listener.
And for MIDF, yes, they can get the grant from MDEC and at the same time get financing from MIDF. But the total aggregate must not exceeding 90% lah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Encik Hairul, one brief question. Basically, in addition to schemes that you have for digital and technology, I'm sure does MIDF also have other types of grants and loans available?
Yes, we have many soft loan for many purpose basically. One of the most popular one is the loan for automation and modernization, which is the loan amount up to 20 million lah, which
Oh.
also includes capex financing like buying factory, machinery, big machinery, things like that. You know. So
Right.
we have many. They can always contact our business advisory toll-free number, yeah, to get details.
All right. Thank you so much for the information. So we have our last panelist on board. Basically, she is coming from SJPP, that stands for Syarikat Jaminan Pembiayaan Perniagaan. So Puan Masliza Zainal Abidin, she is the Assistant General Manager. And what she does at SJPP right now is basically she's promoting the adoption of government guarantee scheme, yeah, among SMEs. So the title for her to share with you today is Government Guarantee Scheme. So over to you, Mas Liza.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Puan Rajifa. Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. I hope everyone is having a very good week and is coming up to a Friday and also to the weekend. And also I hope that everyone has gotten quite some information about the different types of agencies like MDEC and MIDF, as well as some learning experience from Datuk Wei on how he has actually grown his company as well as the challenges. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizing committee from MPC for inviting us today so that we can actually share awareness about a type of alternative option that is provided by the government to help the SMEs other than grants of funds or direct funds. Yeah. So first of all, I'd just like to reintroduce myself again. My name is Mas Liza and I'm from Syarikat Jaminan Pembiayaan Perniagaan Berhad, which is the long name for SGPP. And you know, in the government, they say the longer the name, the more important we are. So, and that is what we are actually. We are actually a company that is under the purview of Ministry of Finance. We are owned by Minister of Finance Incorporated. So we are a fully owned government company. And we have been around since 2009 to actually administer and mandate government guarantee schemes. So what I'm going to do is actually explain a little bit more about what is government guarantee. Maybe some of you are not familiar with it, and how you can actually utilize and benefit from using this scheme. Okay, so let me start to share my slide. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, government guarantee scheme, in this sense that we actually going to create the awareness and inform you about government guarantee scheme Prihatin, or what we call GGS Prihatin. Yeah? GGS Prihatin is actually a scheme that was announced by the Prime Minister in March actually, and is currently now in implementation. So I'm going to take you through as to how you can actually apply and what the process is going to be like, what will be the eligibility criteria for the SMEs, and as well as who are our participating financial institutions. Okay. So let's go to currently what you need right now after listening to the stories from Datuk Wei, and as well as learning for the understanding about what's automation and what's digitalization from Stanley, our partner in MDEC, as well as Encik Hairul and MIDF. It will give you some idea that you actually need funding. Now, I know that now is quite a very, very rough time for a lot of the SMEs, yeah, especially in terms of trying to figure out how you're going to sustain your business, and possibly then considering alternative methods, for example, going into e-commerce, maybe going into digital marketing and so forth, and you will actually need funds. So in this case, this is not a grant of fund that you actually get from the government. What happens is that, you know, sometimes you are not eligible for certain grants or funds. You still need to get funding. So where do you get funding? Now, most SMEs will actually go to the banks to try and get funding. Yeah? So in this case, you'll actually find that you want to actually speak to the banks to see what are the credit facilities that is suitable for you. Maybe at this point in time, you need to figure out how to actually pay your rental, how to pay your obligations, especially when moratorium is over. Or maybe you want to start to actually invest in e-commerce, you want to invest in digital advertising. All that does actually cost money. So you actually go to the banks to try and work out what is a suitable credit facility for you. It could be in terms of an overdraft, it could be in terms of a term loan, or any short-term credit facility that you need. So you will go to the banks, and the banks will actually then request you to give normal documentation for you to ask for any type of credit facility. They will ask for your company registration, they will ask for your financial statements, bank statements, they will ask about your Form 49. If you're going for contract financing, they'll ask you for samples of contracts and so forth. So the reason why the banks are doing this is actually because they need the documentation to be able to substantiate your application for the credit facility. This is part of their normal business. So let's say you can actually provided all the information. Then after that, the banks will also ask you, do you have collateral? Now, what is the purpose of collateral? Collateral is actually a requirement most, if not all, banks actually need whenever you apply for a credit facility. This is a plan B for them. In case there is a default, there is a chance for them to actually recover, some of the outstanding balance from utilizing the collateral that you have put in. But what if you don't have any collateral? What if, you know, you already have other credit facilities, your collateral has already been charged there? What if you are more asset light, or you as it is right now, you're actually strapped on for cash, you don't have anything to give, you know, especially when the banks ask for things, for example, like fixed deposit. What happens then? If you don't have collateral, it's very hard for you to get a credit facility. If you don't have collateral, it's very hard for you to get approved for the loan that you're requesting for. And what happens then? Lost opportunity. And also what happens then? You may not even be able to sustain. Where else can you actually get the cash? So this is where SJPP comes in. This is where government guarantee comes in. Now for borrowers who are actually eligible to get the loans, they have a good credit profile, the banks are saying that, okay, these are very good borrowers, but they don't have collateral. So for those eligible and viable customers, what the banks will do is then send your application to SGPP. Yeah, so send the application to SGPP for application for guarantee approval. Can SGPP, on behalf of the government, guarantee the credit facility that the banks are going to give to you, yeah, tuan-tuan and puan-puan? So what we do is we will also check on certain criteria. Some of the criteria that we check is in terms normally for your eligibility, as well as certain criteria on your repayment capabilities. But once we actually review your application, and if everything's approved, we will revert back to the bank and say, okay, for this Syarikat ABC, we will approve for the guarantee. So you don't actually have to submit any additional documentation to us, actually. Everything will be done through the banks. Our partnering banks are very familiar with the processes that we have. So once the approval has taken place, then the banks will actually then proceed to do the disbursement. That means they will give you the letter of offer, or prepare the facilities agreement and so forth. And you can start to, once everything is okay, you can start to draw down or activate your credit facility, and then you can continue to use the credit facility that you get from the bank. It could be a term loan, it could be an overdraft and so forth. So what about you, Tuan-Tuan Puan-Puan? What do you do? So once you have gotten the credit facility and all that, on a monthly basis, then you pay lah your monthly installment, or you pay your outstanding balance. And what else do you pay? Interest rate as well. Yeah? So the banks are actually lending you, giving you the credit facility. They will also charge you the interest rate. So you continue to pay that. On top of that, we as GPP will also charge a guarantee fee. That fee is also paid through the banks actually, but that guarantee fee correlates to the government guarantee scheme that we provide. And our charges are normally between 0.75% to 1%. We do realize that it is still a cost to the SMEs. However, this is one of the cheapest can I say part of a financing cost that is available out there, and it's also a good alternative if let's say you just don't have the collateral. If not, you will lose the opportunity, you see. So it is a relatively small cost for you to actually pay. So overall, that is the overall process here for guarantee schemes. Now let's see what is GGS Prihatin about. So like I mentioned, GGS Prihatin is a government guarantee scheme that was announced by the government to actually help the SMEs in all sectors. From if you want to actually get credit facilities from a minimum of 75,000 all the way up to 20 million, yeah, and that really depends. It depends on the stage of business and the type of funding purpose that you need. You can use it for working capital, so if you need your operating expenses, as well as if you need to invest in machinery and so forth, you can actually apply for it. Our guarantee fees, like I mentioned earlier, will range between 0.75% up to 1%, and we actually cover the credit facility of up to 80%. Yeah, and the tenure, normally what the credit facility that you'll be applying for, the longest tenure that you will get that is guaranteed by SGPP will be up to 10 years. So like I mentioned earlier as well, what are the type facilities? Your term loan, term financing, overdraft, cash line, trade facilities, bankers acceptance, bankers guarantee, revolving credit, we actually cover all that. And interest rates as well as the source of funds will actually be coming in from the financial institutions. Okay, I'd just like to mention that GGS Prihatin is actually open for application through our partnering financial institutions until 31st December 2020. So it's a short-term scheme. But if let's say you don't make it in time or this scheme has been fully utilized, moving forward, we also have our existing schemes before COVID-19. So please go to our website to actually learn more about the different schemes that we have. We just want to focus on GGS Prihatin for now because of the short-term period application. Now, who is actually eligible? You have to be an SME defined companies, and on screen you can actually see the definition of the SME companies. We follow SME Corp's definition. Yeah. And then as long as you're incorporated, so you have to be registered. It could be Sendirian Berhad, it could be partnership, as well as it could be for sole entrepreneurs. And you need to be owned by at least 51% Malaysian citizen. So all this information again is available in our website, and generally it will fit the criteria of a lot of the SMEs. So where do you begin? Who do you speak to? Let's look into our panel of bankers. MIDF has been one of our very, very active partners as well. We work very closely with them. We also sometimes go to events together and share the same audience to talk about soft loan and talk about the SGP government guarantee schemes. So as you can see here, we're actually available in almost all of the conventional and Islamic banks as well. And we believe that this wide variety of banks you will probably have access or are customers of these participating financial institutions. So I'm going over to my last slide, which is these are the key contact and also the direction or the clicking as well as the barcode to go to our website. Our website has a lot of information. I was hoping that we have more time so we can share more stories, but I wanted to also keep it short. I do want to mention that before I actually end the presentation today is maybe some of the things that we do want to share with the SMEs, especially in terms of, now during this hard time when you actually have to get credit facilities from the bank. We do hope that so we actually do hope that the SMEs will actually have proper documentation and proper records. And when you actually get try to get credit facilities from the bank or even from the grants, it's actually very important to have your records, your information, your business plans, your financial statements, bank statements ready, because actually all the agencies will actually request for this. And it will make the process much easier as well. Sometimes when even the agencies or the banks ask for additional information, it's not to make your life hard. It's because so that they can also help you substantiate the need for the grant, the need for the credit facility, as well as for SGPP. If we request additional information, is to help us be able to substantiate your case as well. Especially for SGPP, this is an amanah given to us to administer the government guarantee schemes to all of you. And also, I hope that all of you will stay positive, especially during this time, and concentrate on the things that you can control. We cannot control how fast COVID-19 spreads, and sometimes we cannot control how the government policy will react to it. Additional SOPs, will there be a second MCO? All those kind of things can actually affect your business. But what you can control is not to connect with your customers. Speak to them. If your customers cannot pay, work with the installment. At least you have some inflow. Work with your suppliers. At least if you can't pay them a set amount, can you work out some sort of repayment plan so you can manage your outflow as well. And speak to your banker so that you don't get stuck not being able to pay for any financial obligations that you have. So other than that, I know my time is up, and I hope to be able to hear 1 year from now, to hear some success stories from all of you, tuan-tuan and puan-puan, and stories from all of you, so that you can share stories about how you have overcome the obstacles, some learning curves for you. And I wish you all the best. Selamat maju jaya, and feel free to again go to our website www.sgpp.com.my. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mas Liza. All right, one question coming from our audience today. Can we do reverse application? Meaning to say, can we do reverse application? Meaning, can we get approval first from SJPP and bring that approval to loan from other banks? Is it possible?
Okay. So at this point in time, it is not possible, because the main essentially what SGPP is to actually give the banks assurance to give credit facilities to the SMEs. Yeah, we're not like grants. Grants is more of, if they give a grant money to any of the agencies, you have to convince them. For us, it's like saying to the banks, I know you are hesitant to actually close the bank. I know that probably you charge high interest rate to give loans to the bank. But what we see now is we're going to cover the SME that you are willing to lend. We're going to cover it 80%. So that is why the process SGPP cannot be at the front of the bank. It's usually at the back, where the bank is willing to give the loans to you.
All right, thank you so much, Mas Liza. That explains the question that we have from the audience just now. So we have come towards the end of our session. So basically, what can we wrap up for today is a very nice combination of grant coming from MDAC, and also the soft loan from MIDF, and also we have the credit guarantee from SJPP. Yeah, so it's a very good combination that we have for information for our audience out there who are among SMEs and also technology startups perhaps. So basically, moving forward, for those who are interested to get the slides that shared by our presenters just now, you can head to MPC's portal, whereby you will get to download all the slides for your further reference. Yeah, because we are well aware that the time that we have is very, very limited. So not much that we can share. So you can get more information from the slides that available on MPC's portal. Okay, so basically, as mentioned by our reps, our representatives from MDAC, MIDF, and SJPP, they have already provided the links, the phone numbers to call. So yes, please take the initiative to get all the assistance needed to really grow our businesses together in this, in this time. So again, on behalf of MPC, we would like to thank our representatives, Stanley Ho from MDAC, Hairul from MIDF, and Mas Liza from SJPP for spending your time together with us today to share the offerings and also the schemes available from your respective organization. And not to forget Datuk Wei, who has been kindly enough supporting MPC's initiative and all that, especially in terms of sharing your valuable experience, yeah, Datuk, from bringing your company from small until exit. So your experience is very, very much available for us. And moving forward also, keep on the lookout for MPC future webinar sessions, because this is only the beginning. There will be more coming out from MPC. So please follow Facebook's, MPC's Facebook to get more information, latest information about that. And in addition to that, as part of MPC's Go Big with Digital program, please do give yourself the opportunity to have access to expertise available on MPC's virtual business clinic. Yeah. So on this business clinic, you get access to all the advisors that you need in terms of growing your business. So please head to virtual business clinic. The URL would be mpc.gov.my/digitalvictory, and log on and register your interest to really for MPC to help you to match with the incentive that you would like to have to grow your business. Yeah. So on behalf of MPC and on behalf of the representative, including Datuk Wei, we would like to thank you again, the audience, for spending the time with us. So together we can learn the assistance available for SMEs and also for startup in order for us to really grow and to navigate our way out of this COVID-19. So in conclusion, thank you very much all and enjoy your coming weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you again soon.
Thank you, everyone.